So I received a custom blade from a buddy of mine, Jeremy Lord. And so we named this the JL Shogun Hunter. This is ADCRV2 steel. And I've put this thing through hell. Where do I start? Here's where I'll start. Let's get some paper here. Okay, now put that in comparison to something similar. And what am I doing? What I'm showing you is the blade angles here. Okay, so let's see that. It's about the same, okay? And this is 1095 and 15N20. This is Damascus steel. And listen, I'm very good at sharpening. I'm very good at sharpening. That's as sharp as these are going to get. And it's because of the blade angle. For example, for some of you who aren't aware, who don't know, here's a buck, right? Completely different blade angle, very thin up here. It's a buck 119. Very different, right? It doesn't get hung up anywhere. Straight through, no problems. Okay. That's the buck 119. Here's my Kershaw. It's going to be similar to the buck 119. Right? Straight through. Okay? Straight through, no problems. Very different blade angle. So, with the blade angle this has, it lends itself to being a knife that is geared more so to like a all-in-all survival knife. And I say that because this thing is freaking tough. Tough, tough, tough. This blade received no damage on the edge whatsoever. And the sharpness that it does have, it kept that through some serious torture. So I use this to dig a hole in the dirt. I use this. I chopped a lot of wood. I cut through wood. I made um, oh, what do you call them again? It's like those like flower heads on a stick that you make so you can um, set them fire easier. I did a lot of stuff like that, and at eventually it started to dull a little bit, right? Where it wasn't cutting as the way it was cutting here. And so finally I had to go back to sharpening it, and I did that. And it was fairly easy to sharpen. It wasn't difficult. It went right back to being sharp. But the point is that the edge got no damage. There was no chips. There was no, bends or anything like that. It's extremely strong in that sense. Where when I tell you I was chopping, I mean with force, like with everything I had. Because I told him, I said, I'm going to test the hell out of this thing, and I'm going to be truthful. And that's what I did. Now, this thing chops like it's an axe. Okay, like it chops amazingly. Um, and it's still sharp enough to get things done that are important, you know. Again, it doesn't have a blade on it so sharp that it's like that buck 192. It can still cut though, as you see, right? It's still sharp. It's still sharp. Those misses are my fault. So it's still sharp, but you can see that it gets caught sometimes in there. Sometimes it'll go through decent. It's sharp, but it's not, razor sharp, right? Um, and it's actually very similar to like a very sharp axe head. Like an axe that's well sharpened performs the same way on paper that just did. It does not have the same blade angle as this, not even close. It's much thicker right here. It's thicker, and it comes to its point, from a thicker angle. So if I were hunting and I need to, I'm going to need to gut a deer or elk or whatever. Am I going to take this or am I going to take the buck 119? I'm going to take the buck 119. Now, to be fair, this is buck. like they've been doing this for decades, longer than I've been alive. He just started, right? Now, if I was to be put out into the woods for, let's say, a month, I'm going to be in the woods for a month and I have to survive. Let's say I'm on the show alone, right? And I have to survive out in the wilderness. Which blade am I taking? This one. No question. I'm taking this one. It's much stronger. Full tang in the back. The metal solid. It holds an edge for a very long time. And it chops like a monster. And it's sharp enough to get things done that need to get done out in the wilderness. So, yeah, I would definitely take this in that situation. But for a hunting trip, I'm going to kill me a deer and then I need to skin it. It's going to be something that has a thinner profile, like these two, right? So that's my conclusion to it. It's when I let me say one more thing, because I don't think I emphasize this enough. It's built like a freaking tank. Like I thought that when I first looked at it, I said, "Oh, this looks like it's going to the handle's going to come loose at some point or something. When I get to beating this thing to death, it's going to come loose, something like that." No, no. Whatever he did was done right, and it was done right the first time. As you can see, that tank, it's all the way around, and however he has this on here and whatever he did, it's not going anywhere. It's not breaking. It's not coming loose. None of that. That's why I say if I was on like the show alone or, something like that, I'm taking this because this is going to handle more damage than a buck 119 can. I can promise you that. I took it and I split. I did so much things. I'm forgetting a lot of things that I did with it. I took it and I, hit it with a, what was I hitting it with? I can't even remember now, but I was hitting it with something hard to cut through wood, So I was hitting it in the wood and then bam, banging it down through the wood. I did that a lot. I did this thing where I was cutting a bunch of 550 paracord and cutting rope to see how long it would take for it to start dulling. And I gave up on that because it wouldn't dull until I started chopping and digging in the ground and stuff like that. And that is when eventually it started to, get the dull, and it never chipped. It never chipped, not one time, took a bend, nothing. The blade itself was crazy strong. Um, it's just at an angle. Now, I've talked to him and I'm kind of attached to it. So, and maybe that'll give a better understanding of when I say it's sharp enough. It's sharp enough to do anything that I need a knife for. Um, but um, it can be sharper. And what I want it for is hunting. Now, can it get the job done? Like, can it skin a deer, skin an elk? It can do all that. No problem. And the blade is going to last longer than even the buck 119 as far as staying sharp. But it's just not as sharp as a buck 119, right? Or Kershaw for that matter. So I may send it to him and have him, change the blade angle at which this comes in so that it's a much slimmer profile. And that way it'll be crazy sharp. Will it still hold a sharp edge as long as it does now? We don't know. We'll have to see. So I reckon I'm gonna do that. I gotta just do it. I'm so attached to it, but I just gotta send it back to him. Have him change the blade angle, thin it out a little bit, and then we'll have a part 2 on it and see how well it does everything once again. So that's that. Here's a machete of mine. Let's see what does the machete do. Oh, you can get in there. Oh, look at that, huh? Look at that. I'm really good at sharpening. This thing could not do that whatsoever when I first got it. But like I said, you see it ripping. You see that? But then it'll get a nice little... So I'm good at sharpening, but what is this? This is a machete, right? This is a machete. It's sharp, but it's a machete. What else do I got another machete, right? How does this do? I think this has a slimmer blade angle. Look at that. Caught right there. Caught again. So I can tell you this and this knife, the sharpness is about the same, about identical between these two. And this it's sharp for a machete. This thing is really sharp. This has a blade angle of a machete or an axe, you know, certain machetes with a slightly thicker profile. And like I said, it's the same as this. It's the same as this. So here's that. Whammy out.